Alright, let's look at the final subtopic of differentiation, which is small change or approximation. So what is this subtopic is about? Well, I give you a very simple example. Let's say this year you measure your height and you found out that your height is 160 cm. Okay, let's say your height is 160 cm. And then 5 years later, or maybe 10 years later, you notice that now your height is 170 cm. So what does that mean? It means that you grew taller, right? So 160 to 170. So this is your old height. And this is your new height. Correct? The difference is what? The difference is 10 cm. Correct? 10 cm is your change of height. Correct? So this chapter is about that, to find the small change in terms of, can be x, can be y, whatever the question asks. Okay, but in this case the example I'm giving you is in terms of height. So you are finding for the small change of height. So that is what this subtopic is about. So there are 3 formulas that you have to know. The first formula, if let's say the question is asking small change of x, okay, small change, we usually represent small change as delta. Okay, so small change of x, that means delta x. So how to find delta x? You take the new value of x, so x new minus x old, similar to what we did here. You take the new height minus the old height, you get the small change. So that's what you're doing here. So I want you guys to try to understand this so that you don't have to memorize, okay, because it's actually a very short and simple subtopic. So if you can understand this, there is no need for you to memorize. So the second formula you have to know is actually the same thing, but if the question asks for small change in y value, so that means you're looking for delta y. So delta y is same thing, take the y new minus y old. Okay, same thing. So these two is basically the same. Next, this one is one of the most important one, which is dy dx equals to delta y over delta x. Okay, I want you all to know this because this is the formula that you'll be using most of the time for this subtopic. But of course, this is not a fixed formula. If the question give you dA over dx, for example, then you have to use delta A over delta x. Okay, so you have to be flexible with what you're going to use. Okay, if the question asks for area, you use area. Okay, but the main one is these 3. You need these 3 formulas to solve this subtopic. So let us go and see the examples. Okay, so question number 1. For each of the following function, find the small corresponding change in y. So this one they're asking for delta y with the given small change in x. So here they give you the equation of y, and then they give you the when x increases from 1 to 1.05. So that means this is the old x value and this is the new x value. So from here you can find what? You can find delta x, right? What is delta x? You just take the new value minus the old value. So 1.05 minus 1, which is 0.05. So this is the delta x. So question is asking you to find for delta y, right? So what's the formula again? dy dx equals to delta y over delta x. So to find delta y, you have to shift your delta x across. So it becomes delta y equals to dy dx times delta x. Okay, so you just have to substitute each of these values. So how to find dy dx? You can find dy dx because you already have the y value, right? They gave you the equation of y. So 4x cubed minus 3x squared. So what is dy dx? Dy dx is equals to 4 times 3 is 12x square minus 6x. So this is dy dx. But you still need to know what is your x value, because otherwise you cannot find your delta y, because all these are in terms of x, correct? So what you can do is, whenever they ask you, whenever you are required to substitute any value, right, use the old value. Okay, use the old value. So in this case, the x value, you have two values. One is, the first one is 1, the second one is 1.05. So you're going to use the old value of x. So in this case, it's going to be 1. So 12 times 1 square minus 6 times 1. So 12 minus 6 will be 6. So dy dx equals to 6. So here is going to be 6 times, what is delta x? 0.05. Okay, you solve this, you will get 0.3 unit. So this is your answer. Okay, so this is how you solve. It's actually very straightforward. So now question B. If you don't understand, right, no worries. As we go through more examples, you will slowly understand. Okay, so let's do second one together. Now, same thing, they want you to find delta y, the small change in y, and they gave you the x value, right, from 4 to 3.98. So you can find your delta x. The old value, the new value is 3.98. The old value is 4. So you get negative 0.02. Okay, so that is your delta x. Okay, next you want to find for, okay, you can straight away use the formula dy dx equals to delta y over delta x, right? So you want to find delta y, so same thing as the previous question here, dy dx times delta x. So what is your dy dx? Same thing, use your y equation and differentiate it. So y equals to 4 square root, okay, square root you change it to x power 1 over 2 plus 3x square. So when you differentiate, you get dy dx equals to 4 times 1 over 2 would be 2, and then x minus 1 over 2 plus 6x. Okay, so now you substitute the old value of x. Okay, the old value of x. So you should get 2 over square root x, which is 4, plus 6 times 4. So you get 1 plus 24, which is 25. Okay, so dy dx is equals to 25 times negative 0.02. So your answer should be negative 0.5 unit. Alright, next. Okay, the length of the side of a cube is xcm. So you got a cube. Okay, the length are xcm. Okay, all should be the same because it's a cube. Find the small change in volume. Okay, see here. Question is asking you for volume now. It's not x or y, it's volume. So here is delta V because you're finding for small change in volume. When each side decreases from 2 cm to 1 cm. So the side is what, x, right? So this will be x old, this will be x new. Okay, from 2 cm to 1.99. So here you can find delta x. You take the new value 1.99 minus old value. So you should get negative 0.01. Okay, so that's your delta x. So now you want to find delta v. So the formula is what? Either you can use delta v over delta x equals to dv dx. So since you're finding for delta v, it can be dv over dx times delta x. So what is dv dx? So you know that your volume is v equals to x cubed, right? X times x times x. So dv dx is going to be 3x squared. Okay, so what to substitute in the x value? Same thing, use the old value of x. Okay, always use the old value. So in this case, 3 times 2 squared. So it's 12. So dv dx is equals to 12 times delta x would be negative 0.01. So your answer should be negative 0.12. This is cm. So cm cube. Yeah, because it's volume. Cm cube. Right? So this is your answer. Next. Find the small change in volume of sphere. So now is volume of sphere and they want the small change in volume. So this is delta V again. When its radius decreases from 5 cm to 4.98. So this is radius, right? So delta, you can find delta R. Delta R is going to be the new value is 4.98 minus 5, which is negative 0.02. Next, you want to find delta V, right? So same thing, delta V over, this time since you have delta R, so you're going to use delta R, equals to dV over dr. So delta V is equals to dV over dr times delta R. So what is dV over dr? So you know that volume of sphere is what? 4 over 3 pi r cube. So what is dV over dr? Just differentiate. So you get 4 over 3 times 3 and then pi r square. So equals to 4 pi r square. So 4 pi r square, what is the r value? You have to substitute the r value. So the radius, what's the old radius? 5 cm. So 4 pi r is 5 square. So you get 100 pi. Yeah, correct. So here is 100 pi times delta r is negative 0.02. Okay, type this in your calculator. You should get negative 2 pi cm cube. Okay, so this is your answer. Next. The area of a drop of oil which spreads out in a circle increases from 4 pi to 4.01 pi. So this is what? The change in volume, right? Change in area, because area of drop of oil. So this change in area. So this is delta A. Okay. Find the corresponding small change in the radius of oil. So they want small change in radius, delta R. So we're going to just do that. So delta A over delta R equals to dA over dr. So you want to find delta R, right? So let's flip this. So you flip this, you get delta R over delta A equals to dr over dA. So to find delta R, you just have to take dr over dA times delta A. So what is the you can find first delta A, right? Because delta A is quite straightforward. Delta A is the small change, so it's old value of area 4.01 pi minus 4 pi. So you should get 0.01 pi. Okay, now you want to find dA over dr, because you cannot find dr over dA, right? So let's find dA over dr. So area is, what is this? Area of a circle, right? So circle is pi r square. So dA over dr equals to 2 pi r. Okay, so here's the thing though, you cannot substitute x value, you cannot substitute r value because you don't have any r, right? You see, no r is given to you. So how are you going to solve this? So the only way you can solve this is to change the equation to become in terms of a. Why? Because you do have the a value, right? You have the old a value, the area. So you cannot use r, you have to use a. So we rearrange this formula. So a over pi equals to r square. So r is equals to square root a over pi. Okay, so we're going to substitute this r equation into the r value here. So you get 2 pi times square root a over pi. Okay, so since the area is 4 pi, so what you get is 2 pi times square root 4 pi over pi. So you can simplify this, you should get 4 pi. Okay, square root of 4 is 2, so 2 times 2 pi is 4 pi. So here is 4 pi times, oh sorry, that's not 4 pi. This is dA over dr. You are looking for dr over dA. So it's 1 over 4 pi times delta A is 0.01 pi. So you can simplify this. You should get 0.0025 cm. Yeah, just cm because it's radius, right? Change in radius. So this is your answer. Alright. Given y is equals to 16 over x square, find the value of dy dx when x is equals to 2 and determine the approximate value for 16 over 16 over 2.02 square. Okay, so now all this while we have been solving small change. Now they're asking for approximate value. So okay, let us not go there first. Let us first solve the first part. They asked to find dy dx. So y is equals to 16x power negative 2 because it's fraction, right? So dy dx becomes 16 times negative 2, which is negative 32 x power negative 3. And of course, don't forget to substitute x equals to 2 because they are telling you to find the value of dy dx when x equals to 2. So you have to substitute the 2 into the x value. So negative 32 over x is 2, right? So 2 power 3. 2 power 3 is 8. 32 divided by 8 is negative 4. Yeah, correct. So negative 4. So now, the first part you're done. Now they ask you to find approximate value of this. Okay, and what you notice is that is actually quite similar to this, right? The first one is they gave you y equals to 16 over x square, and then now they ask you to find the value of 16 over 2.02 square. So what's the difference? The first one here, they're telling you x is equals to 2, right? So now they want you to find this. So in other words, they are asking you to find the value of y new, the new value of y, because now the x value went from x equals to 2, which is the x old, become 2.02, which is the x new. And they want you to find what's the new value of y. So that's what it means here, approximate value of this. So here they're actually asking you to find y new. Okay, so that's why you have to understand what the question is trying to ask you so that you can solve. So to find y new, I gave you the formula of, I gave you only 3 formulas, right? So delta y equals to y new minus y old, correct? So since you're finding for y new, you can take y old plus delta y. So how are you going to find y old, the old value of y? You can straight away use the formula given and substitute the x value, the old x value. So you get 16 over 2 square plus, so what is delta y? What is delta y? There's no way of finding, because you don't know what is the y new and y old, so you cannot find delta y, correct? So to find delta y, you have the other formula, which is delta y over delta x equals to dy over dx. So delta y is equals to dy dx times delta x, right? This one you have. So dy dx is equals to, we already found here, negative 4 times, what is delta x? Delta x, it went from x equals to 2 to x is equals to negative, x equals to 2.02. So the x new would be 2.02 minus 2. So when you calculate this, you should get negative 0.08. Okay, so that's your delta y, correct? So you just have to plus negative 0.08. So you should get your final answer 3.92. So this is your new y value. Okay, 3.92, this is your answer. Alright, next. Okay, final question. If y equals to x power 5 over 4, find the approximate percentage. Oh, this time is percentage. Okay, don't worry about percentage first. Let's see what they ask. Approximate percentage change in x. So change in x is delta x when there is 4% change in y. So this 4% change in y is delta y. So what is this? Delta y is going to be equals to 4 over 100 times y old, right? Old value. Okay, so I'm just going to write y there. So it's 0.04y. Okay, if you don't understand why I did this, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say your mom gave you 100 ringgit, okay, this month. Your mom gave you 100 ringgit this month, and then your mom said, next month I'll give you 10% extra. 10% extra. So that means your amount is increasing, right? So how much is the 10%? How much extra are you getting? You take 100 times 10 over 100, right? So you'll be getting RM 10 ringgit extra. You'll be getting 10 ringgit extra. So next month you're going to get, the new value is 110. The extra is 10 ringgit. Correct? So how did I just find the percentage increase? How much is the increase? The increase is 10 over 100 times the old value of the amount you were getting. Okay, so that's what I did here. I take the 4% change, the 4%, whether it's increase or decrease. In this case, I'm going to just assume it's increase. So 4 over 100 times the old value of y. So same as what you did here, 10 over 100 times the old value of the amount you were getting. So that's why I use 4 over 100 times y. So it's 0.04y. Okay, so I hope you'll understand how I got that. So now coming back to the question, they're asking you to find what? The percentage change. So the percentage change you can ignore first. First you have to find delta x. So how to find delta x? So the formula is delta x over delta y times equals to dx over dy. So delta x equals to dx over dy times delta y. So what is dx over dy? Let's find dy dx first. So y equals to x power 5 over 4. dy dx would be equals to 5 over 4 x power minus 1, right? So it's 1 over 4. Okay, so this is dy dx. But here's the thing. You want to, you don't know what is the x value, right? So usually we will substitute x value, but in this case we don't have to, because we don't have it. Okay, we don't have the x value, so we leave it like this. And then you want to find delta y, which you have already found. But here's the thing, if I substitute this, so dy dx is this, right? Dx dy is what again? Dx dy would be 4 over 5x power 1 over 4. Okay, so I'm going to substitute here dx over dy, so it's 4 over 5x power 1 over 4 times, now if I just substitute this, is it okay for me to substitute here? Answer is no, because this is in terms of y. Okay, so if I substitute here, one is in terms of x, one is in terms of y, so it becomes very difficult to solve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change everything to say in terms of x. Okay, so I'm going to take 0.04. How to change this to x? You just have to plot you already know y is equals to x power 5 over 4, right? So you just substitute x power 5 over 4, so you get 0.04 x power 5 over 4. Okay, so you substitute, you should get, okay, I'm gonna erase this, so it's gonna be 4 x power 5 over 4. So you can simplify this. Okay, you get 4 divided by 5 times 0.04, you get 0.032, and then x power, so 5 over 4 minus 1 over 4, you get 4 over 4, which is 1 lah. So you just x, so this is delta x. Okay, so you've already found delta x. So now the question is asking what? Percentage change. So how to find the percentage change of x? You take the change of x, okay, which is delta x, over the old value of x. Okay, old value of x, we don't know what's the old value of x, correct? But let's assume that the old value is x, and then it goes to a new value of x. Okay, so we're just going to write here x times 100%. Okay, so what is old value, what is the small change in x? 0.032 x divided by x times 100. So here you can cut, so the change is how much? 3.2%. Okay, so if you notice in the end, right, you will cancel the x one. Okay, that's the beauty of this question. That's why you cannot substitute the x value here, because you don't know what's the x value. So we just assume that the x value is old x, so we just assume that it's x. Okay, so we're going to write x there. So in the end, you're going to cancel it, so you get 3.2%. Okay, this is a much harder question. It's okay if you don't understand, no worries, we will have more exercises in the future. Okay, so you understand better, but for now this is all we have covered. I hope you understand this subtopic. Okay, we have just finished everything about differentiation. So until next time, hope to see you in my next video. Alright, take care, bye bye.